In the quiet moments of life, when we pause between our daily tasks, we often find ourselves asking, what is true happiness? Why does it sometimes feel just out of reach, like a distant echo we can almost hear but cannot grasp? The teachings of the Buddha, passed down through centuries with profound gentleness, remind us that happiness is not a treasure to be hunted in the external world but a serene bloom that unfolds quietly within us. In today's world, we are surrounded by endless noise, expectations from society, the pressure of constant comparison, and the longing for material comfort. Yet amidst this turmoil, there exists a simple, timeless path to true contentment, one that calls us back to our own hearts. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that happiness is a natural result of living in harmony with the truth, of being mindful and compassionate, and of embracing non-attachment. We find that when we align ourselves with these universal principles, the rest of life slowly falls into place. Instead of chasing fleeting pleasures, we turn inward and discover a peace of mind deeper than any external reward. The Buddha often said that all beings seek happiness and wish to avoid suffering, but most do not see where genuine happiness truly lies. It does not reside in wealth, praise, or fleeting pleasures. It blooms quietly when we understand ourselves and live in accordance with wise principles. In this video, we will explore what I call the 4 Buddhist keys to true happiness in everyday life. These keys are not abstract ideas reserved for monks, they are living truths we can practice in our daily lives. They teach us to find dignity in honest work, deep satisfaction in sharing, the relief that comes from freedom from debt, and the ultimate peace found in living blamelessly. Together, let us walk this gentle path and discover the quiet joy that has always been waiting within us. Let us begin by exploring the first key, how honest work brings dignity and joy. In the teachings of the Buddha, right livelihood holds a sacred place, reminding us that our work is not just a means to earn money but a spiritual practice, an expression of our values and our heart. When we engage in work that is honest, free from deceit and harm, and rooted in kindness and compassion, we find a quiet joy that no material reward can replace. True happiness blossoms when we offer our efforts sincerely, without selfish craving or hidden motives. There is a famous Zen story that beautifully illustrates this truth. In a remote mountain monastery in ancient Japan, there lived an old monk named Tetsujin. Every morning before sunrise, Tetsujin would sweep the temple courtyard with great care, moving slowly and attentively. A young novice once approached him and asked, "Master, why do you spend so much time sweeping every day? The wind will bring more leaves tomorrow, and your work will never be done." Tetsujin paused, looked at the young monk with gentle eyes, and replied, "I do not sweep to make the courtyard perfect. I sweep to clear the dust from my own heart." The young novice did not understand at first, but over time, as he watched Tetsujin continue this simple practice with unwavering calm, he realized that the act of sweeping was not about the leaves at all, it was about cultivating presence, humility, and joyful engagement with each moment. This story teaches us that honest work, no matter how humble or repetitive, is a path to self-discovery and inner peace. In our daily lives, we might not sweep temple courtyards, but we clean our homes, prepare meals, serve customers, guide children, and tend to countless other tasks. When we perform these duties with mindfulness and sincerity, they become offerings, opportunities to nourish the dignity within us and to connect to something larger than our own desires. Honest work shields us from the traps of arrogance and restlessness, grounding us in the present moment. We live in a society where people often measure worth by titles, wealth, and outward success, but the Buddha reminds us that true dignity is not found in external validation, it arises naturally when our actions align with moral integrity and compassionate intention. By practicing honest work, we shape not only our external environment but also our inner landscape. Each act becomes a drop of water that slowly wears away the stone of ego and selfishness, revealing the smooth surface of our true nature. This is why the Buddha praised right livelihood as an essential part of the Noble Eightfold Path. It cultivates virtues like patience, endurance, and gratitude. When we find joy in honest work, we free ourselves from the endless chase for more and more, and instead, we discover contentment in the simplicity of our daily efforts. As we age, this becomes even more vital. Our roles may change, and our physical strength may wane, but the spirit of honest work continues to nourish our dignity, giving us a deep sense of purpose. In this way, honest work is not about achieving perfection or winning praise, it is about embodying the spirit of compassion and presence in every movement. The joy that arises from this practice is calm and enduring, untouched by the shifting tides of fortune and fame. Even in the smallest tasks, we can find echoes of the same awakening that Tetsujin experienced as he swept his courtyard, day after day. In each moment of honest effort, we hold the potential to clear the dust from our hearts and to touch the silent, boundless joy that lies within. This joy is a refuge, a sanctuary that remains open to us no matter where we are or what challenges we face. Through honest work, we reconnect with the rhythm of life itself, a gentle, flowing dance that leads us back to the center of our own being. It is here, in this quiet center, that we discover the true dignity that shines brighter than any worldly success and the joy that sustains us through all seasons of life. In embracing honest work as a spiritual path, we not only transform the way we move through the world but also illuminate the path for others, inviting them to join us in this simple, profound journey toward inner peace and lasting happiness. Now, let us move gently to the second key, why sharing what you have creates deeper satisfaction. In the teachings of the Buddha, generosity, known as dana, holds a place of great honor as the first of the 10 perfections and a vital foundation for spiritual growth and inner peace. While many people believe that accumulating more brings security and happiness, Buddhist wisdom reveals that it is actually in the act of giving and sharing that our hearts find true nourishment and freedom. When we give, whether it is a material offering, a kind word, a moment of our time, or simply a warm, genuine smile, we loosen the tight grasp of self-centeredness and begin to experience a natural spaciousness in our hearts. Sharing transforms our relationship with our possessions and with others. We begin to see that nothing truly belongs to us forever and that everything we hold is part of a vast, interconnected web of life. This understanding brings profound relief and satisfaction, because we no longer have to cling to the illusion of ownership or control. The Buddha often taught that when we give without expecting anything in return, we cultivate joy, build merit, and plant seeds of future happiness that blossom within and around us. True giving arises from a mind of compassion and an understanding of the shared nature of suffering and joy. In practical life, this can mean offering food to someone who is hungry, supporting a friend in times of need, or using our resources to uplift our community. When we give, we create bonds of trust and kindness that dissolve loneliness and heal wounds in both ourselves and others. Instead of feeling isolated, we discover our place in the great tapestry of life. Generosity also teaches us to let go of greed and fear. It helps us see that abundance is not about hoarding but about flowing, like a river that nourishes every shore it touches. The satisfaction that comes from sharing is deep and enduring because it does not depend on recognition or reciprocation. It is a quiet joy that fills the heart when we see another being smile or feel relief because of our kindness. As we age and reflect on our lives, it is often not the things we kept that bring us peace, but the things we gave away freely and lovingly. Every act of generosity purifies the mind, clears away the clouds of selfish desire, and reveals the clear sky of our true nature. This practice also supports mindfulness, because it encourages us to pay close attention to the needs of others and to the subtle movements of our own mind. We become more attuned to suffering, more sensitive to beauty, and more open to connection. Through generosity, we deepen our capacity for empathy, patience, and unconditional love. We learn to rejoice in the happiness of others, which further expands our own joy. The Buddha taught that even a small offering made with a pure heart has immeasurable value, and this truth reminds us that we need not be wealthy or powerful to share, we only need sincerity and a willingness to open our hearts. In this way, sharing becomes a spiritual practice, a way to polish the mirror of the heart and to see ourselves more clearly. It transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for awakening, for stepping beyond the small self and touching something vast and timeless. When we make sharing a natural part of our lives, we create a habit of looking outward with kindness rather than inward with craving. We build a life of meaning and connection rather than accumulation and isolation. This does not mean we must give recklessly or without wisdom. True generosity is guided by mindfulness and discernment, ensuring that our offerings truly support the well-being of others. The deep satisfaction that grows from sharing is a gentle, enduring joy that strengthens us in times of hardship and brightens our days with quiet warmth. It is a joy that cannot be bought or sold, a treasure that grows the more it is shared. Through this practice, we align ourselves with the universal truths of impermanence and interdependence, freeing ourselves from the narrow confines of ego and opening to the vastness of life itself. As we continue to share, in small and great ways, day by day, we water the seeds of spiritual growth within us and create ripples of kindness that touch countless lives. In this, we discover a happiness that is not fleeting or dependent on circumstances but rooted in the timeless qualities of compassion, mindfulness, and non-attachment. Let us remember that in giving, we receive something far greater than what we let go of, a deep, unwavering peace of mind and a profound sense of connection to all beings. This is the heart of true satisfaction and a cornerstone on the path to lasting inner peace and spiritual freedom. Now let us move to the third key, the relief that comes from freedom from debt. In the Buddha's teachings, living free from debt is considered one of the highest blessings, a condition that allows the heart to rest easily and the mind to remain clear and spacious. While debt can refer to financial obligations, it also extends to emotional, social, and moral debts that weigh heavily on our spirit. To truly understand the depth of this teaching, let us consider a real story from modern America that beautifully illustrates this principle. There was a woman named Maria, a single mother living in Ohio, who had worked tirelessly for years to provide for her 2 children after her husband left. In her efforts to keep up with medical bills, educational expenses, and daily needs, she fell deeply into credit card debt. The growing debt felt like a shadow that followed her everywhere, in the grocery store aisles, while she tried to sleep at night, and even during moments of joy with her children. Every phone call from an unknown number sent a wave of anxiety through her body, each letter in the mailbox brought fear instead of comfort. Maria felt trapped in a cycle of endless repayment, always working harder but never feeling free. Yet, determined to change her life, she started to simplify her spending, learn about budgeting, and seek advice from community resources. She taught her children the value of mindful consumption, choosing to repair rather than replace, to cook meals at home rather than dine out, and to find joy in shared moments rather than in material possessions. Over 5 years of careful, patient effort, Maria finally paid off her last credit card bill. That day, she described feeling as though a massive stone had been lifted from her chest, as if she could finally breathe fully for the first time in years. She no longer woke up in dread or lay awake calculating monthly payments. She felt a radiant, liberating peace that spread through every part of her life. This story resonates deeply with the Buddha's teachings. When we live beyond our means or constantly borrow, we create mental unrest, fear, and a subtle but persistent sense of bondage. Debt ties our minds to future worries, preventing us from fully enjoying the present moment. The Buddha compared debt to a prison, a state where freedom is always just beyond reach. In contrast, freedom from debt is like an open sky, vast, luminous, and filled with possibilities. It allows us to rest our hearts in ease, to move through life without the constant background hum of worry. Financial freedom also strengthens our capacity for generosity and moral integrity. When we are not burdened by repayment, we can offer help more freely, make choices based on wisdom rather than desperation, and build relationships based on genuine connection rather than hidden obligations. Practicing contentment, or santuthi, is key to avoiding debt. Contentment teaches us to live within our means, to find joy in simplicity, and to appreciate what we have rather than constantly seeking more. It helps us realize that happiness does not come from acquiring newer, bigger, or more luxurious things, but from a peaceful, uncluttered mind. In today's consumer-driven world, we are bombarded with messages that urge us to spend and to define our worth by possessions. Yet, the Buddha reminds us that true wealth lies in freedom from craving, in the ability to be satisfied and at peace with what we have. When we simplify our lives, we discover a natural abundance, a sense of sufficiency that feels deeply nourishing. The relief that comes from freedom from debt is not only financial but also emotional and spiritual. We free ourselves from the guilt of owing, the fear of losing, and the constant grasping for more. This lightness opens the door to deeper mindfulness and spiritual growth. We are able to listen more deeply, to rest more fully, and to connect more sincerely with others. Moreover, freedom from debt invites us to consider the debts of kindness and gratitude we carry. We might reflect on the support we have received throughout life, from parents, teachers, friends, and even strangers, and repay these debts not with money but with acts of compassion and service. This creates a cycle of goodness that further enriches our lives and spreads peace to others. As we grow older, freedom from debt becomes even more precious. It allows us to face each day with confidence and serenity, to enjoy the simple pleasures of life without the heavy burden of past obligations. Like Maria, we can wake up each morning with a sense of spaciousness and gratitude, no longer weighed down by fear and regret. This relief is a profound form of happiness, a subtle yet enduring joy that supports both our outer and inner lives. It is a happiness that remains stable regardless of external circumstances because it is rooted in wise living and inner strength. In embracing simplicity and financial mindfulness, we honor the Buddha's teaching that contentment is the greatest wealth. We realize that true freedom does not come from accumulating more but from needing less and loving more. By living free from debt, we embody a spirit of non-attachment and self-reliance that inspires others and brings peace to our families and communities. We transform from anxious seekers into peaceful givers, from restless consumers into mindful stewards of life. Through this practice, we create a sanctuary within ourselves, a quiet, sacred space untouched by the storms of the world. This sanctuary becomes a source of resilience, clarity, and deep, abiding peace. May we all strive to cultivate this freedom, step by gentle step, and may it guide us toward a life of simplicity, generosity, and true happiness. In freeing ourselves from debt, we learn to walk lightly upon the earth, to cherish each moment as it comes, and to share our blessings with an open, joyful heart. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom, to live fully in the present, free from the chains of craving and fear, and to discover the limitless peace that has always been waiting quietly within us. Finally, we come to the fourth and last key, how living blamelessly leads to the greatest peace. In the Buddha's gentle and timeless teachings, moral conduct, known as sila, is not merely a set of restrictive rules but a compassionate foundation upon which true inner freedom is built. To live blamelessly means to act in ways that bring no harm to oneself or others, to choose words that uplift rather than wound, and to embody intentions rooted in kindness, honesty, and mindfulness. When we live in this way, we free ourselves from the heavy burdens of guilt, regret, and hidden fear that often cloud the mind and disturb the heart. Many people spend their lives trying to find peace through external means, accumulating wealth, gaining recognition, or chasing pleasures, yet they remain restless because their inner world is troubled by the echoes of past actions that were not aligned with their deeper values. By choosing to live blamelessly, we create a life that feels simple, clean, and transparent, like a clear stream that reflects the sky without distortion. The Buddha taught that refraining from lying, stealing, harming living beings, engaging in sexual misconduct, and using intoxicants that cloud the mind forms a protective shield for our hearts. These ethical precepts are not imposed from the outside but arise naturally when we cultivate compassion and wisdom within. When we avoid harmful actions, we sleep peacefully, speak confidently, and engage with others without the anxiety of hidden faults. Our relationships flourish because they are built on trust and sincerity rather than fear or manipulation. Living blamelessly invites us to meet each moment with mindfulness and integrity, turning daily life into a continuous meditation on kindness and respect. It allows us to face ourselves honestly, without the need for excuses or justifications, and to develop a deep inner confidence that is not shaken by criticism or loss. This way of life brings about a profound inner stillness, a peace that is gentle yet strong, subtle yet unshakable. As we grow older, the peace from living blamelessly becomes an even more precious treasure. When we look back upon our lives, it is not the number of our possessions or the scale of our achievements that bring comfort, but the knowledge that we have lived in a way that caused as little harm as possible and brought kindness into the world. This realization becomes a source of deep joy and spiritual strength that supports us through all changes and challenges. Moreover, living blamelessly harmonizes our actions, speech, and thoughts, creating a sense of unity within ourselves that dissolves inner conflicts and confusion. We no longer feel torn between different desires or weighed down by doubts, because our life moves in a single, clear direction guided by compassion and wisdom. This inner harmony is like a soft, steady light that illuminates the path ahead, helping us navigate difficult times with grace and courage. The peace that comes from blameless living is not something given to us from the outside but something that naturally arises when we choose to live in alignment with the timeless truths of interdependence and non-harming. It is a gift we give ourselves and a blessing we share silently with the world around us. In a society that often celebrates cleverness over sincerity and ambition over integrity, choosing to live blamelessly is a quiet yet powerful act of rebellion, a gentle stand for a life of depth, honesty, and real connection. We become like a calm lake, undisturbed by passing storms, reflecting the sky and the trees with serene clarity. As the Buddha said, there is no path to peace, peace is the path. By living blamelessly, we walk this path with every step, discovering that true peace does not depend on external circumstances but is cultivated moment by moment through our own choices. We find that the greatest freedom comes not from doing whatever we want but from mastering our desires and acting in ways that bring harmony rather than harm. This freedom liberates us from the inner prison of guilt and restlessness, opening the doors to a vast, quiet joy that sustains us through all seasons of life. By embracing blameless living, we invite a gentle simplicity into our days, a spaciousness that allows the heart to breathe and the mind to settle. We touch a timeless serenity that is always present beneath the noise of daily life, waiting patiently for us to return. This is the greatest peace, a silent refuge that grows stronger the more we nurture it through mindful, ethical living. In this way, we become a source of light for others, inspiring them not through grand gestures but through the quiet radiance of a life lived in truth. May we all find the courage to walk this gentle path, and in doing so, discover the deepest joy and freedom that life has to offer. As we arrive at the end of this gentle journey together, let us take a deep, mindful breath and reflect on the 4 Buddhist keys to true happiness in everyday life that we have explored today, each one a precious stepping stone toward a more peaceful, joyful, and liberated heart. We began by discovering the dignity and quiet joy that honest work brings, how each task, no matter how small, becomes an offering to our own growth when approached with mindfulness and sincerity. Then, we turn to the profound satisfaction that arises from sharing what we have, realizing that true abundance flows not from hoarding but from giving freely and generously, planting seeds of kindness in the hearts of others and nourishing our own soul in the process. We continued by contemplating the deep relief and lightness that come from freedom from debt, learning how stepping out of the shadows of financial and emotional burdens can open us to a vast, serene freedom that allows us to live each moment fully and with gratitude. Finally, we arrived at the quiet, unshakable peace that blossoms when we choose to live blamelessly, aligning our actions, words, and thoughts with compassion, honesty, and respect, and becoming a gentle refuge of trust and kindness for ourselves and the world. Together, these keys invite us to create a life that is not only outwardly simpler but inwardly richer, grounded in the timeless truths of Buddhist wisdom, mindfulness, non-attachment, inner peace, and spiritual growth. As you sit here now, perhaps feeling the subtle stirrings of inspiration or a quiet warmth in your heart, I invite you to pause and consider, which of these keys speaks most deeply to you today? Which one feels like a gentle call, waiting patiently for you to answer? Please take a moment to share your reflections in the comments below. Tell us about your own life stories, the challenges you have faced, or the ways you have found joy and peace through honest work, sharing, simplicity, or blameless living. Your words may light the path for someone else, and together, we create a beautiful circle of wisdom and support. If this video has touched your heart or offered you even a single moment of peace, I warmly invite you to subscribe to our channel, Mindful Pathway Media, so we can continue walking this journey of mindful living and spiritual growth together. By liking and sharing this video with your friends and loved ones, you help spread these gentle teachings further into the world, planting seeds of compassion and understanding that may blossom in unexpected and beautiful ways. Every like, share, and comment not only supports this channel but also becomes a ripple of kindness that moves far beyond what we can see. Let us build a community rooted in sincerity, depth, and a shared commitment to inner peace and happiness. May these reflections encourage you to live each day as an opportunity to practice these keys, to turn ordinary moments into sacred steps on your own path of awakening. May you find the strength to work honestly, the joy of sharing without expectation, the courage to live free from debts of all kinds, and the serenity of a blameless life. And may each step bring you closer to the quiet, radiant happiness that has always been waiting within you, patiently shining like a hidden jewel in your own heart. Thank you for joining me today. I bow deeply to your presence and your willingness to explore these gentle truths. Until we meet again in the next video, may you walk peacefully, breathe deeply, and smile often, knowing that true happiness is always just one mindful breath away.